In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the installation steps for the iTrackLPR system. The iTrackLPR system requires the .NET Framework 4.5, which is only available in Windows 7 and Windows 8, as well as on Server 2008 and more recent versions of Microsoft Windows Server. Unfortunately, it is not supported on XP or Server 2003. I've already downloaded the full suite setup, so we'll start by running that. As you'll see, it detects if the Framework 4.5 is not installed and will then attempt to install it. So we just go through next, accept the end user license agreement. We can use the default location for the installation. We're going to go through and do a full installation for this demonstration, and we're going to just use the defaults for the program group. You can go through and check all the settings. If they're to your liking, we can start the installation process. You can see now it is busy installing the Microsoft Framework 4.5. Just accept the license agreements and begin the install process. Now that the .NET Framework has been installed, the rest of the installation can complete. You may be required to reboot your computer. We'll delay the reboot for the moment, as we still need to install MySQL. The iTrackLPR system is dependent on MySQL for the database backend, so the next step is to install MySQL. I've downloaded the latest version of MySQL and we'll run the installation. Right, we're going to install the MySQL product, so select Install MySQL Product. As we've just downloaded this installation, we're going to skip checking for the latest version. We're going to do a full installation. Click Execute. Accept the end user license agreement and install the Visual C++ 2010 redistributable. And execute the next step of the installation. So we can just accept all the defaults as we go through here and just let it install everything. Now that that section of the installation is complete, we can carry on to the next section. This will install the actual server and some samples. So again, just select Next and let it do all the defaults. The configuration type that we're going to go for is it's going to be a server machine, and we can then just leave the rest of the settings as the defaults. It's going to ask you for a password for the MySQL. I suggest you use a secure password here. I'm just using a default password of password just to simplify things for this demonstration. Again, next, and then accept these settings and let it start the installation. You'll see at the bottom here it says the service list has changed. This means that it's now installed MySQL as a service. Again, just select next and it will continue with the installation. And now that section is complete. Select next and just finish the install. MySQL is now installed. It will automatically open the workbench, and the iTrackLPR software is now also installed. The next step is to create the database that MySQL will use. We do this through the workbench. So we'll select the local instance. Here we use the same password that we entered earlier. In this case, password. We can save it in our vault so that we won't be prompted in future. We now go to File, Open SQL Script, and then go to Computer, C drive, Program Files, iTrackLPR, Database, and open the MySQL database SQL script. We can now run the script, and this will now create the database and populate it with some of the default settings that it needs to be able to log in. You can see here the database creation is now complete, and we can close the MySQL workbench. The software is now installed, however it's not fully configured, so now let's go through the process of configuring the software so that we can start running it correctly. I'm now going to show you how to get the software licensed without the data server and the LPR server being licensed. They will not function. So we'll start with the data server. So we open the data server application and we go to File and then Licensing. You can see it comes here and says the software is unlicensed. So we can request a trial license. So we enter our full name. So we can enter that and enter an email address. And we go OK. You'll see now it will come back with a trial license and it will give you an expiry date. By default, the data server has a 30-day trial license. So we can now close that and the data server is now licensed. The LPR server works in a similar way. When you run it, it will come up and it will tell you that it is expired. We go to System, Licensing, and we can now request a trial key. Now saying it was activated successfully, and in order for the licensing to take effect, we need to restart the application. So we close it and restart the application, and you can see that it now is licensed. The software is now fully installed, but is obviously not configured. The configuration of the LPR server, the data server, including all the notifications and vehicles of interest, will be covered in future videos. Thank you, and I hope you have found this video informative and useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us on info@itracklpr.com.